Hi, team. We are continuing our series of learning targets and success criteria, and this particular session is about how to make them come alive for your students. Our learning targets and success criteria are as follows. First of all, by the end of this session, you should be able to intentionally reference learning targets and success criteria in ways that your students, pre-K through first grades, will understand them. Also, you should be able to reference the learning target at the beginning, the middle, and the end of a lesson, and you should be able to describe what this practice looks like and sounds like in the classroom. Why does this matter? We've talked about this quite a bit. We talked about Hattie's effect size, but just to bring you back to the whole reason why we reference those learning targets and success criteria to increase student engagement, to increase student learning. Think about yourself. When you know what you're about to learn in any professional development session, you gain ownership of that learning. Um, of course, it helps to clarify those expectations for the learner. When a child is in your class and you tell them what you expect them to be able to do by the end of the lesson, imagine how much more confident they might feel. It just helps them to be more independent as learners. The reality is, we've talked about one of our expectations throughout the building is that we are posting our learning targets and success criteria. But if we are only posting them and we never reference them, we never talk about them with our students, it's more like wall decor. We want to make those learning targets and success criteria come alive for our students. So what does that mean? Our learning targets and success criteria, as a reminder, should be developmentally appropriate. Um, Instead of saying, students will identify the main idea when you're talking to your pre-K, your first grade, your kindergarten students, what would you say instead? You could say, hey, I want you to tell what the story is mostly or mainly about. Um, if it's too complex for our babies to say it, that means that they probably don't understand it. What it sounds like in the classroom. So think about at the beginning of your lesson, today we are learning to, if you're talking about main idea, you can say today we are learning to decide what the main idea is or identify the main idea. If you say identify, then you've got to explain that word because we do want our students to be exposed to strong vocabulary. But we also want them to understand that vocabulary. So you have to break it down for them. And we've talked about this a little bit before. During that lesson, you can have them turn and talk. Remind them what their expectation is and have them turn and talk about that during the lesson. And then at the end of the lesson, what was our target? So you remind them, what were you supposed to be able to do? Have them write it down or draw a picture at the end, or even tell you what it was. Okay, team, we've spent a lot of time discussing learning targets and success criteria and the effect size that they have on learning and student engagement. And so today I'm going to just model for you what it would look like with something as simple as a read aloud. Um, so I'm modeling the story, Ray Ray's Softball Dream. Okay, boys and girls, we have a new story today. The story is Ray Ray's Softball Dream. It's written by Charlene Norfleet. That's right, that's me, boys and girls. This is a realistic fiction story that is about one of my daughters who is now a softball coach. So she loved softball when she was little and grew up to play softball in high school and college. You can see the little girl on the picture right there. She looks determined, doesn't she? So we've also taught boys and girls about learning targets and success criteria. And so today I want you to think about, when you think about a learning target, think about what you are learning, what you're expected to know by the time we are finished with this book. And so what I want you to know by the time you're finished with this book is, what's the main idea? What is the story mainly about? In order for us to understand that better, there's some things that I want you to be able to do. One thing is, I want you to be able to carefully listen to this story. You have to listen in order to know what's going on in the story, don't you? That's right. Everybody tell your neighbor, listen. Very good. Listen to the story. All right, the second thing that you should be able to do is think about the important events in the story and how they relate to the characters. So think about the important events. Remember, events are what's happening in the story. So tell your neighbor, I can tell the important events and characters. Good job. All right, and the last thing I want you to be able to do is I want you to be able to tell again what this story is mainly about or mostly about. That's how you get to the main idea. Tell your neighbor, I can tell what the story is mostly about. Very good. Now I want you to take a minute and turn and talk to your neighbors and tell them 3 things that I want you to be able to do when I'm finished reading this story. And I'll be listening. Don't forget, they're up on the wall right here, so if you need to take a look at them, you may do that as well. Good job. Good job. Okay, who can tell me one thing? Very good. Very good. What's another thing? Awesome. I do need you to be able to tell me what the story is mostly about. What else? The events in the story. Nice job. Very good. And what was the one important thing I said I need you to be able to do? Listen carefully to the story. Absolutely. You have to be able to listen carefully to the story in order to tell me those things. Nice job. All right, here we go. Ray Ray's softball dream. Ray Ray was just 4 years old when she first stepped onto the softball field. Her glove was too big and her socks slipped down her legs. However, her heart was just right for softball. The grass felt soft beneath her sneakers, and the bat made a crack that filled her heart with joy. Ray Ray didn't just like softball, she loved it. So as I'm listening to this story, I'm thinking about what's happening so far. Well, I know that Ray Ray loved softball since she was 4. And I know that Ray Ray loved it since she was little. Even when her socks were hanging down on her legs, she loved practicing softball and playing softball. She played recreation and all-star softball. Each swing made her stronger. Each game made her better. Every year Ray Ray signed up. Recreation softball became her happy place, a place to run, learn, and cheer for her team. So I know that Ray Ray loves softball, and I'm thinking about that as I'm reading, that she loved softball, she loved to play recreation, and she usually made the all-star team. When Ray Ray turned 7, she felt brave. She tried out for a travel softball team, and she made it. Ray Ray traveled to Tennessee, North Carolina, and Georgia. with her travel ball team. So I'm thinking about Ray Ray and I'm painting pictures in my head so that I can remember what it is about Ray Ray that made her love softball so much. And I've already learned that she traveled with her team to different places to play softball. Ray Ray always played hard and did her very best. Ray Ray learned many new softball skills while playing travel ball on other teams too. In middle school, Ray Ray found something special, a team full of friends who felt like family. Stop and think just a minute about what you already know about Ray Ray. Okay? Tell your neighbor one thing that you already know about Ray Ray. Nice job. I heard you say some of the very same things that I just said about Ray Ray. And thinking about those things as you read will help you to also remember what this story is mainly about. They traveled together, celebrated birthdays together, and made memories that would last forever. Her teammates became her best friends. In 8th grade, Ray Ray moved away. It was hard, but her dream came with her. Soon, Ray Ray was ready to play softball in high school. Where is she? High school, that's right. It became one of the best times of her life. They worked hard and came so close to winning state twice. Even without the first place state trophy, Ray Ray felt proud. So I'm thinking about Ray Ray, and now she's in high school and she's played ball so much with her teammates. They've obviously done a great job because in state they would always get second place. They wouldn't get first place, which was kind of hard, but to say that they got second place in the whole state meant that they really were a good team. Ray Ray even got to play on the same team as her cousins. Together, they were something special. As a senior, Ray Ray's coach believed in her dream. She helped connect Ray Ray with a college. Then one day, the moment Ray Ray had dreamed of finally arrived. A college called Augusta wanted her to play and offered her a scholarship. Ray Ray had reached her goal, the dream she started chasing at 4 years old. College softball was everything Ray Ray hoped for: hard work, growth, teamwork, pride. After college, Ray Ray became a teacher and an assistant softball coach at her former high school. So now I'm thinking about Ray Ray, and she's all grown up. She played in high school, she played in college, and now she's a coach. Later, Ray Ray was able to coach both basketball and softball, two of her favorites. Ray Ray loves giving back to the sport she loved so much as a little girl. Ray Ray knows that this is true. Dreams grow when you believe in them and help others believe too. So now I'm thinking about my learning target was to think about what is this story mainly about, and my success criteria is that I need to be able to tell what the story is mostly about, what the events are in the story, and the characters. Think about that. And then listen very carefully. And you all did a great job of listening very carefully. So I want you to take just a minute. You've got a piece of paper in front of you. And what I want you to do is I want you to see if you can draw what you think this story is mostly about and be ready to share with me in just a minute. What is the story mostly about? You've got 4 squares there, so you're going to, in that first square, you're going to draw what you think the story is mostly about. Or you can write words if you want to. Good job. Nice job. Okay, now I want you to think about the events in the story. Think about what happened first, what happened next, and what happened last. And let's talk about that. So I would develop this particular lesson. Of course, there are lots of different ways that you could take this lesson. You could have had your students, as you are reading the story, write, and that might be something that you do the next day, especially with first graders. They can, draw what's happening in the story as you're reading it to really think about those events that are happening in the story and those characters. And then you can maybe come back and reread the story the next day. And after you read it that day, they can draw a big picture of what they think the story is mostly about. Um, so by the end of the week, they truly understand the concept of what are the events in the story, who are the characters, and what is the story mostly about. And then they should be able to articulate for you what the main idea is. All right, there's that.